Good morning. Welcome to Books at the Bottom of the Stairs. My name's Lorene. I don't really know what I want to talk about today. Last week's video was so long. I was so tuckered. I'm not kidding. I was so tuckered I had to go lie down for an hour. So if you watched it, you probably were tuckered too. I was going to talk about my Reading Across Canada bingo card thing, but then I realized I don't have any of the books with me, so that makes it another technology heavy kind of video, because that means I'd have to get the pictures and stuff. I'm just not in the mood for that. So just as a reminder though, for those of you who are interested, Jolene over at Bookworm Adventure Girls has got a Reading Across Canada bingo sheet that has prompts like air and fire and family and nature and so forth, that it's like a bingo board. You try and find a book that you can check off that theme idea. And I'm actually doing pretty good. I'm surprised. And one of the so I will try and do that soon, because that would be, it's almost 3 months, it's almost a quarter year. So yeah, I'm doing surprisingly well on it without even really trying, because a number of the books I picked up turned out to be Canadian. It wasn't pre-planned. So like for instance, this book doesn't have a little maple leaf on it. Usually, well, I don't have any here, but usually there's a little red maple leaf, and that helps you to, if you want to just stay reading Canadian, you can be lazy and just look for the maple leaves. Well, this book turns out to be from New British Columbia. It's called Journeys to the Nearby, written and illustrated by Elsbeth Bradbury. A gardener discovers the gentle art of untraveling. It's a sweet book. Inspired by adventures of world travelers, but unwilling to rack up her fossil fuel consumption, Elsbeth sets out with a deep curiosity to explore the world that exists in her own garden. It becomes a voyage of discovery and rediscovery as she learns to slow down and observe. And she has, of course, she has nice illustrations. I think it's Vancouver Island. Yeah. Oh, there's a nice one of the spiders. Okay. It was okay. I didn't finish it. After having read this book here, the African History of Africa, and reading about spider mites or spider webs, or, it just, it required a completely different kind of concentration, and I found it a little too lightweight. This would have been a really good book for those people at that time of the year when things are kind of gray and dark and murky, and that's how usually I like to read at the sort of December to March interval. Or if a lot of stuff's happening around me, then I like a book like this, which is pretty escapist. Now, there's nothing wrong with this book. I think it just didn't appeal to me. I found it a little too lightweight. And here's just a piece of information to show you how shallow I am. One of the reasons I didn't enjoy this book is that her garden is so much nicer than mine. Is that shallow? That's pretty shallow. But her garden has got to be 4 or 5 times the size of mine. She's got a little bog. She's got a little bridge. I mean, who doesn't want a bridge? Then there's sort of a foresty area. There's a terracey thing. There's a patio thing. It's one of those big British Columbia type gardens that, I dreamed about when I was younger, and now I dread, because that means more work. So as the years go by, my garden is getting less and less labor intensive and closer to the back door. So I was a little jealous. Having said that, I think that this is really another one of those books that people are really going to enjoy more than me. I think for me, it was just a little bit wrong time-ish, and I think I was still pretty impressed with myself for having come through such a an intellectually challenging book. It's like it wasn't hard to read, but it had so many new pieces of information, and they all connected in different kinds of ways. There was a fair amount of, synaptic action going on. There was not so much for this. And I think the next book I wanted to be reading was to be as, like, gray matter extensively involved as this book here. So, do I have one? I have several upstairs, but I can't make up my mind. Another thing that's happened in the last, I would say 6 weeks, Steve and I unexpectedly have been in more bookstores than usual at this time of year. It's not usually something that we do through the winter months. So I'm going to hold up the books that we purchased. Now, we went on 2 book trips. One to Otis Books, which is at Exit 5. I don't know what Exit 5 leads to. I keep forgetting. We always drive past, and there's Exit 5, and you can get off, just get to the Dairy Queen and the McDonald's and the shopping little mall. And if you turn left, you head towards a bunch of little communities. And if you turn right, I don't know what happens. I don't know if we've ever turned right. And so turning left, end up at Otis Bookstores, and it's beside a long trail that used to be lovely, and but in the last 5 years the government's come in and put in a proper gravel road, and the charm is completely destroyed. But this book, Otis Bookstore, generally has cats in it, and what we can do is we can donate the books that we're not using, and those get sold, and a certain amount of proceeds go towards being a branch of the SPCA, and these cats get adopted so quickly. I think most cats are there for less than a week, 10 days at the most. So I checked out the children's section because I knew March was coming up for middle grade March. And I have the 2 Kate D. Camillo books, the Magician's Elephant, which I have not read. Whoops. And The Tale of Despero, which I have read, but I will probably reread it this summer. So neither of these I'm going to read in March because I have a huge pile of things to read in March. Wendell-Berry, I have read his essays in the past, and I've got one book upstairs that's a really nice collection of his essays. I did not know he wrote fiction. So Mars Catlett, The Force of a Story, it's a Port William novel, so he's created this whole town and hierarchy? No, that's not the right word. Genealogy. And I'm completely new to it. I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't know whether this is a book in the middle of the series or the end of this series. And someone told me that Wendell-Berry is 90 years old. Can you believe it? He's, if you're familiar with the poet Mary Oliver, or if you really like Walden and Thoreau, you will adore Wendell-Berry, because he kind of does the same things. He's talking about nature and the world and being in the world in today's, he's 90 now, but so when he was writing would have been more like in the 50s and 60s, but he has stayed on top of his writing all these years. So he contemplates what it's like to be a farmer of a farm that is slowly not being farmed after he worked so hard to farm it, things like that. Incredible writer, incredible observer. And so I'm looking here, and there's at least 5 books in this series, but I think probably more. And there's a number of short stories. And oh my goodness, I think I'm telling you a lie. I think there's way more than 5. So anyhow, this is something completely new to me, and I am really looking forward to that. It's going to go into the spring sometime. And then I've been talking about redoing Margaret Lawrence. I was thinking that she wrote The Stone Angels, but maybe I'm completely wrong about... Oh yeah, Stone Angel, 1964. The Diviners is 1974. I'm not so sure that I want to read The Diviners, but I think it's coming up in other book clubs that this might become a choice. And I thought, well, it was on for a super duper great price, so I picked it up just in case. So then last month, as part of, beating the winter blues, we went to Lunenburg, where we've got our two favorite bookstores. And although one of them, it's still a well-curated bookstore, it's not quite as interesting as it used to be. It's seems to have stepped away from a lot of the independent publishers, Canadian publishers, that it used to have. It used to have other independent publishers too that would have been British or American, but it seems to have, it's not just new releases. I guess they're releases that are a lot of contemporary ones, but are maybe backlists of authors who are more hyped right now. And also, they really expanded their mystery section. And there's mystery, but there's also now cozy mystery, and there's also now sci-fi and I guess sci romance or something, mystery romance, whatever. It's just the whole sort of genre expansion of romance has hit their shelves. Nothing wrong with that if you like it, but it's not what I go for. So it's not quite my favorite bookstore at the moment. However, Lunenburg Bound still remains my favorite, and there I was able to get two used books and two new books. One of the books that is new is Women of the Harlem Renaissance, Poems and Stories, edited by Marissa Constantinou. And this was predicted to be a new release about 8 years ago. And I'm just seeing it. I kept trying to find out, when were they going to release it? So it finally showed up. And let me see. We have got so many black women writing here. And Gwendolyn B. Bennett, who do I know? Georgia Douglas Johnson, Clara Ann Thompson, Olivia Ward Bush Banks, Nella Larson, The Abyss. I haven't read that. She's the author of Passing. So let me see. Everybody has multiple names. My goodness. Carrie Williams Clifford. Almost nobody has just two names. Alice Dunbar Nelson. Carrie Williams Clifford is a number of times in here, and I do not know who she is. So I'm looking forward to this. And I think what it'll lead, one of the things I'm excited about is I think it will lead to a whole bunch of authors that I wouldn't have come across ordinarily. And I love these little formats because they've got the gold and somewhere in here, a little bookmark. So cute. All right, the other one that I picked up that's new to me is Mystical Cat Shelter by Heather Fawcett and Agnes Oberts. Oh, no, wait a minute, that's the title. Agnes Obert's Mystical Cat Shelter, written by Heather Fawcett. And she's the one who wrote Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. And I think she also recently did Mystical Animals, wasn't it? Fantastical, or was that Catherine Arden? Maybe that was Catherine Arden. Okay, let's just go what it says inside the book here. It's definitely Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, which I did enjoy. Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands, which I haven't read yet, and Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. So, both books that are on my to-do list. This one, this woman has led a meticulously organized life, and she likes it like that. But now she needs, she's devoted her life to finding forever homes for stray cats, but now the shelter needs a new home. And the only landlord who will rent a space is a mysterious man called Havelock. So, I wonder if this is geared to middle grade or YA. I'm not sure, because Emily Wilde was definitely, the protagonist was definitely in her 20s. So I'm not sure where this one's going to take me. Two used books. Now Steve and I have been trying to replace some books. Steve's not. I have been trying to replace a couple of books that I think were loaned out and never returned to us. And Jasper Ford's The Air Affair. I know that we had copy, the first copy. I talked about this book endlessly to people, but many years ago, and for some reason I went looking for it in order to recommend it for my Canadian book club. No, my other book club, thinking they would get a kick out of it, and it wasn't there. All the rest of the books I have are there, but not these ones. So this one, the main protagonist's name is Thursday Next, and she is a time traveler as part of her job as she's sort of a detective, and she's sort of a secret agent, and what's happened is that in the world of literature, characters have started to escape. And so in this case, something's happened in the Jane Eyre novels, and it's incomplete because some of the characters of Jane Eyre has moved over to an Anne Bronte novel, I think it is. And it's crazy. There are extinct animals. Thursday owns a dodo, and there are other extinct animals that you can have for pets. There's time travel back and forth. There's people who are trying to prevent time travel. There's rules around it. I think it can only take place in literature, and I think it can take place in real life too. And so there's a romance in there that is definitely not a insta love, and it's definitely not well resolved. It's a bit insane. And if you've done a reasonable amount of reading in the classics in terms of, the old high school chestnuts, Jane Eyre, one of the Pride and Prejudice ones, just to give you a sense of it, Wuthering Heights, Thomas Hardy, those kinds of classics that just keep coming up relentlessly. So if you know some of those characters, it will give you a sense of the kinds of books that are being visited by the missing characters. There's also an adventure series where it's a bit like Tarzan-ish, except I think that he's a captain of the Royal Guards, and he's one of those dashing heroes that always comes to the rescue, but there's never any bloodshed, and he never actually does anything. He's just the handsome guy in the right place. He gets embroiled in some fashion. A lot of these characters continue over into book 2, 3, 4, possibly 5. And am I going to reread it? I'm going to put it on the low end of rereads because I remember an awful lot of it. It's not going to be too much of a surprise. We're also trying to get a collection of the John Wyndham books, and both Steve and I were sure that we had 3. Cuckoo's Nest, Midwich Cuckoo. Now I'm forgetting. Why don't I look at the book? Anyhow, we were sure we had 3. I went upstairs multiple times. I've looked in the attic. I can only find one, and so I thought, well, I'm just going to start buying them and not try and find them. Midwich Cuckoo, The Day of the Triffids, The Kraken Wakes. I've read that one. No, have not read this one, which is Stowaway to Mars. So I'm going to put this in my to be read soon pile. It's kind of a replacement book, and I don't think we had Stowaway to Mars, but we had a lot of those other ones. So I've just made a mess behind me. I think that's it. I already told you about the books that came in the mail. Yeah, so that's it. I'm sure this is a lot less time than last week, and I'm sure we're all happy about that. I'm trying to do a lot of reading for middle grade March, and unfortunately, I got completely sidetracked. Do you want to know what? You want me to show you? Yeah, okay, I'll show you. I talked Steve into getting BritBox, and I've been enjoying, oh my gosh, have I been enjoying it. So I watched one that was called Our Zoo. It's great. I don't want to become a big advocate of that sort of thing on this channel, but if you have BritBox, Our Zoo was super good. It was only 1 season's worth. It had a good beginning, had a good ending, ended where it needed to end. Then there was another one, I think it was called Hard Acres, and that was a period drama. And I'm glad it ended where it did. I think there were 2 seasons. Well, while I was doing that, I don't know whether I was more interested in the BritBox part of this story or the fact that I had 2 socks that I have to knit for my sister. She chose the yarn. I said, go choose some yarn, but not brown. So she came back with these. She goes, look, I chose orange. There's barely any orange in there. Anyways, they're finally done. We bought this yarn. It's gonna, when she gets them, it will be almost 4 summers worth of waiting. And another thing I've been waiting for, it's like, don't start, because I really loved what I was looking at and I didn't want to get distracted. I had all these other things. I bought this ball of yarn multiple years ago as well, probably 3 winters ago or so. And I really liked what I was looking at and I wanted to knit it up. Now, all I saw was the reds and the oranges and the pinks and stuff. I didn't see any of the browns and the taupes. So now when I'm coming to knit the sock, all I'm seeing are these, oh my God, that's like baby caca. Anyways, I made that, when I looked at it, I thought, I'm gonna make these for Steve. I can't put that on my foot. I love the insanity of the colors, but that color in there. So, what I've been doing is every time I come to a large section of this color, I've been winding it up on the ball and a separate ball. And when I'm finished, I'm going to have probably a ball about this big, probably enough for a couple ankle socks or something to make brown socks. But I'm going to donate that color. So anyways, I have been completely distracted by this knitting and those TV shows. And what's that got to do with brown sugar on the porridge? I'm not reading. I was hoping to have read a lot more. This is my pile for the next 2 weeks. I don't know if I'm going to make it, but I'm going to enjoy. These 2 are really short. That's a really good one. That's part 3, blah, blah, blah. I'll be telling you about them. Yeah, I shouldn't have even said that. Tease you like that. So I hope all your reading dreams and adventures continue to come true. I will see you next week, hopefully with some middle grade books. Bye-bye for now.